I put my shoes on, my jeanie pants on, one leg at a time, like the
You
next
did have that
person.
chest out.
But I'm not minimizing anymore. I did that. I've been in 15 years, but I've been in the game since I was 6. I'm not minimizing anymore. And because I'm a healer, I actually recognize how people receive me when I walk in the room. And so, being responsible for that, I think there is a responsibility that comes along with being somebody that you say is on the platform. So, like, I think right now, present day, people be like, "Yo, I'm not an influencer. Don't follow me. That's bullshit."
I am so happy to have my friend, my brother, on this episode of Dairy Free Game. We have Donald DeP Page. He is a creative healer. Now, I'm going to ask you what that means in a little bit, but I'm going to give you his whole little resume. He is the author of Fall Back to Step Up, and after working with legends like Beyonce, Kanye West, John Legend, and more, DeP is back with his new EP release, Angel Numbers and Frequencies, which is available on all platforms. He says, I'm from the South. I know good food, and it all got dairy in it.
Yo.
So before we get into it, we're going to do what I do with every episode, and we're going to take a dairy-filled dish, and we're going to taste test it because it's made with, without dairy, and we're going to get your honest reaction. Then we're going to get into all our questions. So go ahead. We have Killer Shrimp. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Killer Shrimp is a restaurant out here in Los Angeles, and they make this broth that is definitely butter-based with a lot of spices, seasonings. You sop it up with the bread that's right there. So let's give it a whirl. Yep.
Look, I have to smell it first.
Listen.
You know?
I'm gonna just...
I like killer shrimp, though. The one in Marina, huh?
I could just drink the broth. Let the people know, because they don't believe that we can do this.
So I was ready to be like, no matter what it tastes like, I was gonna be like, that ain't it, but that is it.
Why was you? So you was gonna break down my whole little situation.
Well, our people, what's dope about it is our people. A lot of us can't handle dairy. I can.
No, none of.
In theory, it doesn't do to me what it does some of the people in the family.
That you know of.
That I know of. But I do know that I cut dairy out when I'm like in tour mode because of how it affects us vocally. Mm-hmm. And so it's very, very limiting what I can eat. And this is dope.
Okay, so what does dairy do to you? I know my friend Belle, who you were on the Kanye West Sunday Service Choir thing with, she talked about vocal nodules and how she had to have surgery, and that dairy and the mucus is no bueno, and she called it backsliding when she ends up eating a little bit of dairy when she's not supposed to, and she just says it's all bad. So what effects can you see happening with your voice?
Yeah, dairy, the phlegm, it's a buildup, and so a lot of times when you think about what's actually happening when you're singing, it's your vocal cords vibrating. Mm-hmm. And so imagine that you're trying to shake and you have this restriction on you. That's basically what's happening. So the things that you can normally do creatively or vocally, they're restricted because of this restriction of vibration. And so, when you reach up and try to grab it and do that run on down, it's not as slick as it needs to be. But also for me, I need clear passage. And when I'm on stage, it's my job to emote and connect, right? Mm-hmm. And anything can throw us off from the focus of like, yo, let me connect with the people out there. Let me let you hear my message. I want to be able to utilize everything in my vocal arsenal. And it's just ultimately, it's restricted, because of the presence of dairy, which I hate because I love ice cream. I love cheese. Again, I'm from the South with an F. And we use cheese on everything. We use butter on everything. And we always say butter is the secret ingredient to make something good. So, yeah.
What if I told you that anything that you could possibly think of eating, I can make dairy-free and it'll taste damn near identical and you won't miss it? Like, do you think that's possible? Because I think a lot of times people are suspect. So sometimes when I have them taste my banana pudding, which was originally dairy-free, but then I ended up making it vegan to open it up to the vegan festivals, and it tastes identical, and people can't tell that it's dairy-free. So I don't even tell people, because when you tell them, they're already skittish, like dairy-free mac and cheese, like how are you going to do that? I'll just say, try some pasta. You know what I'm saying? And so, by the way, there's no dairy in it. So, like, do you think that you could be dairy free at some point?
Yeah, if it's good. I can be anything if it's good. You know, like you were saying, what do I think? When you first said it, I was like, macaroni and cheese without the cheese, that's witchcraft. That's what I was thinking.
It's a satanic
What is this,
ritual.
witchcraft? What is happening? You're like, what? That's what originally came to
It's
mind.
not of Christ.
You
Yes.
know what I mean? But really, when you think about it, like black women being the original chefs, you know, they're not. There's
Making
not a
something
lot
out
of
of
credit to
nothing.
that. That means y'all know the cheat code. In my opinion, the cheat code is in the DNA. So if anybody could do it, I wouldn't be surprised that it's you.
I know that's right.
know
So
that's
I hear it in your voice. It's real sultry. Do you have anyone else that sings in your family or any musicians, or where does this come from?
Yeah, a little bit of everybody. Not my dad though. He can't sing, but his dad could. Yeah, my dad's father was in a group called the Pages, and they sung. But I was birthed into this gospel choir, this legendary choir. I wasn't old enough to be in it, but I was the first child of it. It's the Southeast Inspirational Choir, and it birthed the careers of like Yolanda Adams. It was founded by Brenda Waters, Carl Preacher, and Shirley Joyner. So I was around music all my life in this gospel world. Daryl Coley would sit at my kitchen table, you know, so like literally, you know, and when you're that young, you don't really know what this legacy is, what you're doing, but all that I know is music, you know. So when I really want to convey a message, that's what I was meaning earlier. I feel restricted. You can feel the difference when you have a clear passage and when you don't, and when you don't have this ability to just raw go out there and be transparent and be authentic and communicate and deliver everything that you have is restrictive. Well, growing up in that type of family, no matter what was going on, you had to go out there and deliver. You had to be able to connect with the people no matter what state of mindset that you were in. And hell, I would get a whooping on the way to church. Like, you gotta get in there and don't be looking for sympathy hugs and sympathy amens. Go straight to the bathroom, clean it up, and get in that choir, and you better sing. You know, it was just a training, is what we do. So it's a natural thing. As I'm getting older, though, I'm realizing my recovery time from, like, you know, being out all night, not getting enough sleep, eating dairy, eating beef, alcohol. Those things have different effects now. You know, I'm not as young as I used to be.
Listen.
Yeah.
So you travel a lot, singing background, and even now promoting your own EP. How do you stick with your regimen? First of all, you're in very good shape. I seen your little chest out at the ASCAP event.
They say
You know,
it was
it's
hot outside. Sun's out, guns out.
You know, so when you're traveling and you know you're not eating a lot of dairy, like, do you find that you're having a harder time finding things to eat, or do you just go with the go-to things like a salad with a vinaigrette just to make sure you're not ingesting dairy? Or, you know, how do you kind of navigate that?
It's funny because I hate a salad with a vinaigrette.
Have you had my vinaigrette?
You know,
My
and
sesame dressing?
here's the thing. It's
You ain't
not-
had it. You haven't had it.
I haven't had it, but
Okay,
it's,
yeah,
it's
it's
because
crack.
that's always the go-to. Like, and I'm not a vegan, but and when I'm doing like different events or curating events, or like when I was on tour with Sunday Service, that was a very hard thing. I was able to produce one of the Sunday Service in Houston, the one that we did at Lakewood. And when I looked out or reached back out to the choir, like, yo, what's your dietary restrictions? I literally had vegans telling me like, yo, or vegetarians saying that's different. And I didn't even know the difference, you know, but I had them saying like, and please, not just a salad. So it's not that it just becomes boring. It almost becomes redundant. And then one thing we take for granted living in these mega cities, a lot of the places that we travel, after 10 o'clock, their restaurants are closed. There are no other options. The hotel has peanuts and a bottle of red wine, maybe, and some water.
Subway, maybe.
Maybe. And depending on where you're at, the Subway is closed. You know, so it's very hard to maintain a diet on the road for physical reasons, for vocal reasons, for health reasons. It's bad. It's bad. That's why we like to travel with a chef.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, it just takes due diligence because you have to know if somebody is vegan and it's a matter of I haven't ingested any dairy in my whole life. You need to make sure that the bread doesn't have any eggs in it. And a lot of times when I'm catering an event or I'm somewhere and they have the craft services, they'll say, oh, this sandwich is dairy free, and they just mean they took off the cheese. But what's the bread looking like?
Right,
like,
right.
is there butter? And it's, I feel left out a lot of times when I go places, and that's why I make sure that when I cater that, first of all, everything is dairy free to begin with. but then there are also vegan options for people, like making that mushroom taco that tastes like chicken, because I use a chicken fried seasoning on it, and making a Caesar dressing, and making the ranch dressing, because even though my vinaigrette tastes better than most, you'll choose that over anything. But people do want that creaminess. They want that. People love fat. They love the fat, the grease, the crisp, the all that. So I try to delve into that a little bit.
How do you deal with the texture? For me, eating is my trainer years ago used to be like, you eat for fuel. I was like, you eat for fuel. I eat for fun.
Listen.
I eat to be satisfied. I want a good. It's a good time.
You know. Yeah.
We never heard bad. We've heard good. So I want to enjoy this experience. And for me, just like mayonnaise, I'm not a mayonnaise lover. I'm about to say this publicly. Yeah, I don't like things that make you go.
It's too.
I don't like nothing. If you go. I don't want it. So
you don't want caramel. You don't want
caramel is sticky. Not.
It depends on how you eating it, but
that's a lot of things.
Yeah, correct. So you don't eat nothing.
We're not talking about your process, but if you got a slip, I'm cool. If it got and I really so I'm not a potato salad lover. Because of the mayonnaise component. I don't want your tuna fish sandwich. I don't care if it. Now my mama got the best tuna. I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Congratulations. I just don't.
And arrogant people have to understand that don't take it personal, because sometimes I'll be that person like, you ain't have my tuna, but it's like, I don't like tuna. So
there's nothing you could do to it.
This is the best tuna fish, I'm sure, but I still don't want it.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna fake.
Oh God!
I'm not gonna this is good. Like I'm like, yo, do we need a segment to just eat it? Because that's fire. But like, for me, the texture, so even mushrooms. My mom loves mushrooms. I don't like mushrooms, and that's typically
any kind of way, like fried. Have you had them fried?
I've had them.
You've had them. You don't like it?
I don't like it.
What is it about Is it the texture? Is it?
It's the texture. It's the texture.
What about raw? Because when you eat them raw, they don't taste how they taste when they're cooked.
I don't know because I'm not eating them raw.
You never had them raw?
I don't need to have them raw. I don't like it.
But it's like ketchup and tomatoes. My sister doesn't eat tomatoes, but she likes ketchup. It's because it's a different process. So I feel like I'm not trying to get you on the mushroom train. I'm not. But I will say, tasting them raw you may like it. Because it's not the same.
You know what's funny though? Actually, no. The actual mushroom itself I don't want.
Okay.
But I will go to a banquet. I mean, y'all know we go to banquets and it's about 5 rotating options. It's some fish, a dry chicken, and typically the chicken, if they have a chicken marsala, I'll get the marsala because I like the sauce, but I still will scoot the mushrooms out of the way. It's the same thing with onions. I either like them super, super diced so that they kind of disintegrate into food, but if you have it where it's just going to slip on, I'm cool.
You know what?
Texture.
We were like this up until, you got a lot of things that I love.
Texture.
Yeah, I get you.
And it's preferences, and it's easier to say no. That's why it's easy for me to tell people, no, I don't really do sandwiches. Because the way that I'm going to do it is different. And most of you want to, slap some mayonnaise on it.
Yeah, because we going to do a Philly cheesesteak with the cheese. And we going to do a little, with secret sauce. We're not doing, a little something. We ain't doing no mayo. Listen, So, a creative healer, is that what? First of all, I love it. I was telling the producer a little bit about you. He said, what does that mean? I said, we're going to get into it. But what I gather is that just from our conversations, this state of music and just the state of the world is very, very dark right now. Yeah. And it's hard to pierce through with positivity sometimes because we're so conditioned to accept whatever it is that we're seeing. We're accepting the things that are derogatory, the things that are not lifting us up as Black men and Black women. Mm-hmm. And we're not feeding our spirit positive things. And then so when you have somebody that's coming with something that's positive, that's uplifting, there's a little bit of pushback because it's like you're not going with the normal crap that everybody is doing. So when you say creative healer, what does that exactly mean to you?
Well, living in LA, one of the first questions you get asked is what you do.
I hate it.
And it's crazy because depending on what mode I'm in, I'm like, eat, drink, what you mean? Because I don't understand that. Because we love to say these things that become popular colloquialism, but like we're non-monolithic. And so you mean in this moment, you want me to tell you the thing that I do, one of the things that I do that will allow you to grant me your attention.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
It says, let me know if I should
Give you some
give
time.
you my information or not. Sometimes I'll say that I'm a trust fund baby. I work at Sprouts. When I ask people, especially when I even went to the ASCAP, I met my friend Brian Kennedy. He brought his brother. And I asked him, I said, so what are you passionate about? Like what sets you off, or what what do you do for fun? I don't say, what do you do? It doesn't matter.
I ask people, what season are you in? Because it changes. I came up with Creative Healer because I got tired of trying to make that a thing. This ain't no flex, but in the past 4 years, I teach vocal lessons, and this is all at the same time, but I teach vocal lessons. I heal the communication breakdown between the scholars in schools, middle school and high schools, and stakeholders, the people that bring the money. There's a communication breakdown. I've released a book called Fall Back to Step Up. I've been a keynote speaker. I still was singing background for some of the biggest stars in the world. I've returned as a solo artist after 8 to 9 years of not being in that particular space. I'm helping launch a creative arts camp in the DMV area. There's a lot that I do. I am a father. I am a noob. You know what I'm saying? I'm healing.
What's a noob?
A noob? It's one that's been through the process.
Okay, but does that stand for something? What is that a?
Is this a filtered moment? I want to say what the people think it means.
No, I'm saying no. First of all, I don't know what that means.
So when you think about your Greek fraternities and you have your divine, how many of it is it? 9 of us now? Are we still out here? But Kappa Alpha Psi.
Oh, okay.
Mighty Kappa Alpha Psi.
Okay.
There's a difference between a Kappa and a Nuke. You each can choose their own journey, but I chose mine.
Okay. I don't know.
But all of the, real talk, all those things, when I really thought about it, it's because I think this, real talk. During pandemic, it was the first time that I had sat down. I was out on the road with Jay and them. We were in Paris for Fashion Week, and we came back and we were supposed to do 2 shows here in LA, Sunday services, and then go back out and finish this European run, right? And like everybody, we got here and we got shut down. We just in LA. And remember during that time we started we started protesting. We was having the Black Lives Matters moments, and we was having a lot of stuff going on. And Marvin Gaye's What's Going On came on. I realized while we was all stuck in our house, I was like, yo, there's no current music out that I want to listen to this project. There's no music like why I want to listen to. I'm not listening to a turn up joint and I'm in my living room by myself, like twerking with who? Who's twerking on me? It's not, we don't have the music, to kind of meet the need. And it dawned on me that it's the responsibility of creators to create things that speak the translation of the current reality that they're living in. That's our responsibility. There's not a lot of people that have the gift or the ability to take a living experience and make it something tangible to be able to connect, inspire, or just relate to the world, And because we start monetizing through our creative talents, we get distracted by the purpose and the point of being given a gift. So what'll happen is, because I need this to go viral, I'm creating content this way, or because I want this to be a radio hit, I come into the studio saying, okay, this is the rules to a hit. Put it in this key. Make sure we start off with the hook. Don't make it too complicated. Like, imagine that people are telling us to create good music is to dumb down. So when you asked the question earlier, like, why is it that positivity is not piercing? Why should it? We told people it wasn't good. We told people that, in order to be something, you're all creators, all of you. And you can use AI and create things, and by putting it on social media, if you can get other people to say that it's cool, now it's official, right? There's no work being put into creativity. There is a profound relationship between life and art. Life imitates art. No, that's bull. Life is art. Why? Because if you live in a compromised life, you're going to create a compromised art. If you live an authentic life, you're going to make authentic art. And authenticity always connects. So most people aren't resistant to experiencing me. They're exposed.
Yeah.
You know, and so what's exposed is the realization of, oh, hell, I fell into the programming. So I started realizing that the things that I was charged to do, I stopped rinsing it through that marketing rinse that we're taught to do. I stopped like filtering it through the monetization efforts and started doing, I was able to separate my need for finances and my need to create. Doing so allowed them to thrive individually and not dependent on each other, but both of them required me to live. So the more I invested in my living experiences, going to places, going to Bahia, spending a month there, going to Puerto Vallarta and spending a month there, going over to Europe and spending a month there to expand my life. Of course, my art expanded, and I realized I was creating things that was going to solution something.
Yeah.
The book was going to solution art. The fear of mindset, fall back to step up. That's talking about 30 of the mindsets and ideals that we get connected to that distract us and prevent us from reaching our next level. That's healing the mind. That's healing your outlook. That's healing your perception. My very first project, mixtape, that I came back out with last year in November, just to let everybody know I'm not just singing background anymore, he's back, was This Shit Can't Wait. Because I looked around and culturally we was in a horrible, horrible state. For so long we kept saying, oh, it's getting bad, it's getting bad. And we didn't really stop and take inventory and look around and say, yo, it is bad. And so there was an urgency there. So that was to solution our complacency. That was to solution our stagnation, right? Well, the worst thing when you get woke up out of a dream, you think it's good and you get woke up. Some of y'all may relate. I'm from the age that you can get a whooping. So your mama wake you up because you didn't clean the dishes, and you look around like, what's going on? Where am I? You don't even know where you're at yet. You can't even cry because you're surprised. You're stuck, right? Well, I knew that This Shit Can't Wait. It was a disturbance, right? We needed something that was going to break through, because a lot of us with messages, we are afraid to curse. But that's the language that's out there. Do you? How authentic are you showing up just because you have a calling, just because you have a point, just because you have a purpose, you know? So I did that knowing I had disturbed the atmosphere, and angel numbers and frequencies was something to say, but it's okay. It's okay. This is how you reconnect.
I think a lot of us are being lulled to sleep.
Yeah.
And music and food are very, very similar in that they're both the universal language. Like,
Exactly.
It doesn't matter where you live in the world, people understand music, they can connect to it, and people eat. It's like that's the commonality. And a lot of times we're programmed to, they tell us what to like.
Yeah.
You listen to it enough, you be like, I can't stand this song. But then it starts coming on the radio enough and you start singing it. The same with like the food that we're ingesting. Like we don't know all the damage that not just dairy, but just sugar. Sugar is a drug.
Yes.
And we don't see the effects sometimes until it's too late. And like my cousin said one time, she said she continues to eat dairy even though she's bloated, or even though her insides may be having her farting and stuff. She said as long as she doesn't get a breakout, like, she's cool. But it's like the inside is still doing what it's doing.
And I'm not like, cool if I'm with you and you just letting off.
But letting a little
like,
boom, boom, boom out.
And now we can't hang because I like to go to cheese, and you letting off, and no.
Right. A lot of us are just, it's like, if everything looks fine, then it's probably fine. So we don't go to the doctor. We're not checking. And of course, Big Pharma, it's his duty to make sure that we're getting those medications. So why would they want to tell you that everything that we need to heal ourselves is actually in the earth? If we change I haven't had a cold in 10 years. I have not been sick, aside from COVID, in 10 years since I've been dairy free. And I don't push dairy down people's throats, but I really want them to understand that, like, especially as Black people, like, we are dying of heart attacks at people my age, 43, 40, 39 are dying of high blood pressure, diabetes. It's just all kind of things. And we think we're going to live forever. It's not how it was like back in the day when our parents, first of all, they didn't have all the stuff that we're ingesting now. Like they cooked more at home. There wasn't a lot of preservatives and things. It's just really, really bad.
I want to go back.
It's really bad right now.
Triggered. You triggered me. Well, and in a great way, because purpose. when I do artist development. I get a lot of artists ready for their next levels and things like that. The first artist I did that with was a Latin artist, Bianca Acosta. One of the still current artist that's doing her thing. Her name is Timar. And she's the first artist signed to Issa Rae's label. And one of the things that I always have to do is strip back. What is your why? So when I came out with my particular why of I want to be able to heal, it was because my biological father died at 40. And he died of a heart attack. Now, I didn't know my biological father. I knew my stepdad. My stepdad came into my life at 3. And my biological father left at 3, which is something I found out. I think as a child, I tried to heal that and say he left at 2. And my mom corrected me. And I was like, well, then when did y'all date? You into, doing shit. Shut up. Hey, y'all, balance. Deep. You can be deep, but you get here's what it is. But I was like, yo, mama do the math. I'm born in September. When did okay. But I'm a Virgo. What's up? That's 9. What's up, born a preemie? Yeah. But yo, when I looked at it, I found out my stepdad was very abusive, very, very abusive. There's something, the dualities of life. You kind of learn to accept them. I have actually had the most hurt from the closest people to me. So I've had to learn how to still love beyond being hurt and accepting this particular role and position that comes along with the giftings that I have, right? I always had this childhood dream that though I was being physically abused by my stepdad, that my dad that everyone talked about and said that he was their favorite this cool person. My dad started the volleyball team with Yolanda Adams at our church. Like, he's a preacher and all these things. Oh, Big Don, Big Don. I was Little Don. So I always had this, he a black belt, that he's going to come and he's going to kick my stepdad's ass and take me, and it's going to be this whole thing, right? About 13, I was out cutting the grass in the yard, and my mom was like, call me in from the chores, and you didn't get interrupted from your chores in the South. And of course, it's Houston, so I'm happy to go inside like, yo, grandma must have called. And I get on the phone, and it's this man voice that's saying, hey, oh, you said do not disturb, and I tried. But my bad. But literally, this man's voice said, hey, Lil Don, this your dad. And time stood still. And from what I can remember, because I was just at a blank, but from what I remember him talking about what it is, and his job is going to have him in Houston, and he wanted to spend some time. I was like, yo, this is it. Oh. And I called my stepdad, Dad, you going down. My dad, he coming, right? And he said, my job will have me there. Would you be down for us to meet? I want to get to know you and some things like that. And I was like, yeah, of course. He said, you got anything to ask me? I said, no, I'm good. And so I got off the phone, and I'm beaming for 2 weeks. You can do what you want to do, because my dad coming. It's about to go down. Mm-hmm. And when he was supposed to get in town, he died.
Oh, no.
And I had never seen him since I was 3, and so I felt this, So now imagine down the road, 20 years, contracts later, and opportunities and things like that. And I look up in LA, and I'm like, you've been here about 11 years. And maybe 12 years at that point when I'm 41. So maybe about 2 years ago, 39 was a hard year, and I didn't realize that I had this fear that I was going to die at 40 from a hereditary thing, because it was a heart attack. Mm-hmm. So I started stressing myself out. I got my first gray hairs dealing with that, and not even knowing, wasn't paying attention. My grandmother had died during the pandemic. The other grandmother died the next year, and then 39 hit, and I was subconsciously saying, yo, there's nothing I can do about this. So then I did start asking my doctors, what can I do? And dairy was one of the things, and I was like, what else can I do?
We're disregarding that.
They was like, what else are we doing with the liquor? And so I started having these conversations about like just legacy and purpose. And I asked myself, what if you die before you've done what you were purposed to do? And I wrote this song called 40, because I realized that I didn't want to run out of time, and I was living in this fear throughout 39. When I hit 40, throughout 40, I thought any day now. So that's where the creative healing started doing. I was healing myself. I had developed a fear. I developed some things because of these unknown health factors that do impact us as a community. And I think it's because of ignorance. We don't know. So what's the aversion against dairy? Because I think the food won't taste good.
Yeah, it's a hard sell, and I have to turn one tummy at a time, and I'm proud to do it, which is why I started the podcast.
I like that, one tummy at a time.
Yeah, that's the writer in me. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, mugs and caps, one tummy at a time.
Listen, no, it is a hard sell, but I care more about people understanding like your taste buds don't have to be compromised. Yeah. Like that's the biggest thing. Is like I could make whatever you want to eat. And you're not gonna miss out. Cheesecake, ice cream, we make, and there's not a lane really for someone that's dairy free. They have vegan options, they have gluten free options, but I like a good steak. I just don't want it cooked in butter. So I either have to eat dairy or I have to eat vegan. I don't want vegan. Like I don't want no mushrooms. We don't like mushrooms.
We don't like.
I like mushrooms, but you don't like. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's not a lane for people that eat meat but just absent the dairy, and so I know that I'm on to something. Like,
well, and I'm required to eat meat. When I got to the doctor and asked about
did you do your blood type thing?
I don't remember, but yeah, I literally got. I told my family, they were laughing. I was like, "Yo, I got prescribed a steak, literally a steak a week." It's
maybe for your iron and stuff. Yeah,
and they was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yo, legitimately, that doesn't work." And I'm in LA. And I would appear that I, don't eat everything, and I'm not disciplined with my eating. I'm very disciplined with my fitness.
See,
and
so the eating is just as big.
I would like to, but it is hard. It is hard, and especially like you said with the niche lane, because I need to eat
the meat,
the red meat.
Yeah. This has been awesome. We know that we can listen.
Eat the meat.
Eat the meat. Eat the meat deep.
No.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
I am. Let me stop.
We can talk all day, but
Absolutely.
I am so grateful that you have joined us. So we ended the same way. We give pretty much like dairy-free game, or a tip or advice. So what is like one or two sentences that you would tell somebody to encourage them, or advice that has actually helped you in your journey? See, you're pausing because you didn't want to.
Return to the pre-debris version of you. Tap into your authenticity, because that's where your true power is, while accepting that nothing is happenstance. Everything happens for a reason. Focus on your why, and the rest will follow.
Amen. And as it relates to being dairy free, I will say I know it's challenging and we sometimes don't know where to start. So let's just start very simple. Try cutting out butter. Mm-hmm. Instead of using butter, use Smart Balance or Earth Balance. There are other alternatives. I just use those all the time, and I know that they work good for cooking and baking. So until the next time, thank you for joining us.